And we're live. Okay, everyone, this is WordCast number 4 from Word Tech Reviews, and we have some pretty cool topics to bring you today. So go ahead and keep watching, and feel free to ask us questions as we're going in the Q&A. And also, once this is on YouTube, like or dislike it according to what you like, and comment if you have any questions. So some of our topics today are regarding a new power supply that just came out, some new fans from Noctua, and then Daniel here also has a couple topics that he'd like to talk about. So
awesome Surface Pro 3. Kind of want one. And by kind of, I mean I'm buying one.
Go ahead and give us the info about that.
So for those of you that haven't seen it yet, the Surface Pro 3 is actually worthwhile of giving it a full numbered upgrade. The Surface Pro to Surface Pro 2 were kind of just spec bumps. This is screen size increase, resolution increase. They changed the pen, which is kind of a big deal. They changed the kickstand. They changed the type or the keyboard cover. They pretty much changed all of it. So for those that don't know anything about the Surface Pro, the Surface is a tablet series by Microsoft. The Surface Pro is like full x86 architecture, so you can run any program, whether it be video editing, games, all that random ass stuff. The Surface Pro 3 specifically comes in i3, i5, and i7 variants with RAM of either 4 or 8 gigabytes and SSD space of 64 to 512 gigabytes. Pricing will go anywhere from the 64 gig i3 at $799 all the way up to $1,949 for the 512 gigabyte i7. I'm probably going to get the dead middle tier, which is 512 gigs Intel Core i5 for $1,300. Other notable specs for this device include a 12-inch 1440p display. It is also a 3:2 aspect ratio. They're trying to make it more the size of something like paper, so that if you want to use the stylus, you can do the writing or drawing or whatnot. The changes in the stylus are kind of a big deal. They did make it.
They actually made it more than just a stylus.
Yeah. For one, it has, you know how like on a normal pen you press the button to click out the pen? On this you do that and it opens up OneNote. So you can just essentially press it and it's ready to write, which is really awesome. I don't know if you can remap that. I really hope so. But yeah, pretty cool.
I would think so. I mean, it's a Windows machine, so the likelihood of you being able to remap it's pretty high.
Yeah, and if it doesn't come by... Well, I'm wondering if it's a function of the pen or a function of Windows and just recognizing a button input.
You know, if anything, though, people will request it and they'll release a software update to let you change it to something that you...
That or you can just mod it.
Yeah, or just mod it. Either way. I mean, it'll be one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So, not really any worries there. You had something else you wanted to talk about, too, right?
Yeah.
Alright, go ahead.
Why don't you talk?
You want me to talk? Okay, fine. I'll talk then. Okay, so we have a couple cool things, actually, that are going to be happening. So first off, I just picked up my Asus Crosshair V Formula Z AM3 Plus motherboard. It's about the best AM3 Plus motherboard that you can get. I bought one brand new off Newegg because my motherboard was having a lot of issues with the voltage regulation system. So for those of you that don't know what that is, that's the system that delivers power to your processor. If you don't get enough power to your processor, the processor then underclocks itself, slows down, and then everything goes to crap. And mine was having a bunch of issues, so I just upgraded to the best of the best that I could get, because I do plan to throw in a really high-end 9370 in here and then overclock it at some point. Right now, I'm just running my AX1500i on here. It's running at 4.5 gigahertz, 4.8 turbo core, as well as the V core is at 1.4, but it'll up itself to 1.452 when it's needed. So the temps are pretty high, but the Kraken keeps it at about 50 degrees Celsius under a pretty heavy load. Prime 95 testing when settled at about 64 Celsius, but you never actually push it that hard in real world testing stuff unless you're doing rendering. So anyway, I'm going to be bringing you guys an unboxing of the Crosshair V Formula Z. It's not super professional because I ended up having to use my webcam for it. I didn't have anything else at the point. So it's going to be better quality than this because it won't be on Hangouts. It'll be uploaded to YouTube directly, so you're going to get the full 720p video quality of it and not the limits of what Hangouts can do. But it is on my desk over here. It's not going to be super great or anything, so I do apologize for that. But yeah, it's in my build over here. I don't know how well you guys can see it because the lights are really tricking my camera right now and it's not focusing correctly. But yeah, you can see the light path that's coming from it that goes up to the audio. Yeah, hard to see, so sorry about that, but you can see it better in the video. And I will say that it is a really good motherboard. I was just surprised with the general, like, the heft of it, as well as I really could tell that that dedicated audio pathway reduced my my audio noise big time, because I have the Klipsch Pro Media 2.1 speakers, and used to be, if I turned them up, you know, I get a lot of static in the background. Unless something was playing, then it would play and you couldn't hear the static. But I can turn up my PC volume all the way and the speaker volume all the way, and there's just a very, very, very faint buzz. So I'm really happy about that. So we'll be bringing you guys that, and that'll be pretty cool. Also, a couple things that are happening here soon. We'll be bringing you an overview and unboxing of the Phanteks Enthoo Primo. We're getting one of those, and it's going to be pretty great. We'll be putting up a review of that eventually, too, in a build blog. We also are going to be putting up a review of the BitPhoenix Ghost Mid Tower, which we did the build blog for that already, so you guys can check that out if you want, and I will say it's one great case. And I'm also getting some Phobia, and that's Phobya. I believe it's still supposed to be said Phobia for the company name. LED lights that are going to go inside the Enthoo Primo, so that'll be pretty cool. I think you guys will really like some of that content. Some other new news that came out. So Corsair, this is actually a little bit older news. We're a couple weeks late on it, but just stick with us. If you haven't heard, then cool, and if you have heard, then that's also cool. Whatever, we're talking about it again. So the Corsair, they just released their latest additive to their AX series power supplies. For those of you that don't know, their AX series is their higher end series. It's got some really cool features. Some of them can even you can switch rails through software. They support Corsair Link, so you can control the fan speeds, monitor how much power usage is going through the rails, I think, individually even. Some really cool stuff. Corsair Link is kind of, I would say, still in a development stage. There's a lot of, like, the Corsair Link Commander and stuff you can't really find on, like, Newegg or Amazon or anything, so it's hard to find some of their stuff, but it's a cool feature that Corsair is pushing, and we want to do some testing with that at some point. But Corsair just announced their AX1500i. So it's a 1500 watt power supply. Nothing too special about that. We've had other 1500 watt power supplies. It looks really nice. Corsair always does a good job with their cable sleeving. It's got thick sleeving on the plastic sleeve cables, and then it's got just like individual soft rubber sleeving on some of the cables. So it's really nice. It's not like I've always had complaints about Rosewill, their cable sleeving. You can see all the individual cables through the sleeving. The sleeving is really more there just to hold it together. But yeah, anyway, they do a really good quality job. So it's a good 1500 watt power supply, but it doesn't seem like there's anything special until you look at the 80 plus rating that it has. It's not 80 plus gold. It's not 80 plus platinum. It's 80 plus titanium, the highest possible 80 plus rating, and it's the world's first 80 plus titanium power supply. So the thing is, I believe, about 98% efficiency. So at any given moment, you're only, if you're pushing it to its max, you're drawing like 1550 watts from the wall. At about, it would be probably about max. So the thing is absolutely amazing in that sense. Efficiency, a lot of people don't really worry too much about it because they're worrying about, well, if you look at your power bill is not going to go up hardly at all if you have silver compared to titanium. You might be spending like $10 more a year, so that's not a huge concern. If you're concerned about electricity consumption for environment or something, then that's you. But the biggest thing about efficiency isn't for the power consumption itself, but the fact that the more efficient it is, the less heat dissipation that you have to get rid of from it, because it's using more of the power and not dissipating it as heat. So when you have this 80 plus titanium power supply, since it's 98% efficient, the thing is putting out really, really low amounts of heat. So the fan that's built into it runs at really, really low RPMs, and then you get really silent operation. In fact, you get completely silent operation up to 450 watts. The fan is not even on until you hit 450 watts. Now that's not completely new. Like their AX1200i is an 80 plus platinum, I believe is what it is, and the fan doesn't turn on that one until about 400 watts either. But it's still really cool to see that it's absolutely silent. But then the fan on it also never reaches, pretty much never reaches 30 decibels. I mean, it might hit it at very max fan speed. So the fan on it's a really, really good design. That way you're going to get silent operation. So if you have a really silent system, you don't have one thing that's going to be, overloading everything like you would with a cheaper power supply. So that's really cool. Another thing in PC news, Noctua. So those of you that know of Noctua, you know that there's a really good fan manufacturer. Those of you that don't know, Noctua has been creating some of the world's best PC case fans for a very, very, very long time. And by best, I'm talking for pure performance and longevity, durability. They are the quietest, like by far the quietest decibel to airflow rating out there. They're the best on that, is what I should say. You're going to get the highest airflow at the lowest decibel possible, and that's something that's really cool that PC enthusiasts really appreciate. There are other fans on the market, like Corsair's Silent Series fans, but you don't know silence until you have a Noctua fan. They're substantially quieter than any other silent fans on the market. So Noctua has been really high-end for a really long time. People like them. They have different fans for different applications, like radiators, heat sinks, and then they have one specifically for case fans. Generic stuff. The one dislike about them, though, is all of their fans are brown and beige, a very ugly color that a lot of people hate. Now, if you build your PC right and you're doing, if you don't mind having certain fans on pull, certain fans on push through your radiators, you could hide them all behind radiators, and then there'd be pretty much none of that color seen. People would also mention that you could paint them, but the problem with painting them is they're so well balanced that sometimes if you paint them, they'll actually be thrown off of balance. So it's not a good idea to paint the Noctua fans either. So Noctua has been hearing people out for a long time about that, and they just released 2 new fan series. They released their Redux series as well as their Industrial PPC series. Now these are more than just a design aspect, though. They're actually different fans. So there's a few differences. So first I'll go through the differences, then I'll tell you the colors. So Redux series is supposedly, from what I understand about it, is it's a bare bones fan. You're going to be getting a fan and a cable, and you're not going to be getting their ultra low noise adapters. You're not going to be getting much else. You're pretty much just getting the fan, which helps cut back on costs. And then you can use screws that came with rads or something like that. I mean, maybe it comes with screws. I don't know. They say that it's supposed to be a minimalistic thing, so it doesn't have too many accessories. I don't know how minimalistic they're exactly talking about, but really, really cool, their Redux series, because it should be cut down on their cost a little bit, because those of you that have seen their fans, I mean, they can range anywhere from $20 to $35, $36, I think, actually, is where they max out at. So they're really expensive fans, because if you're buying, 10 of those, you're looking at spending like $200 to $300 on fans. So the Redux series, and then the Industrial PPC series, which is more for really high-end applications like servers or something like that, where you need really high-end airflow and noise isn't quite as big of a concern. You could obviously use them in your home PC too if you want, because you just want awesome airflow or you like the looks of them better. Because Noctua is giving you the option of getting fans that look different, but it's not just a color selection of a series. Each series has a different color, and they're unique too. They're identified by their color. So you have the Redux, which is a silver fan, silver and white, I believe. So those are really, really cool looking. Those are probably the best for most PC builders, because the silver fans do look really good inside a system, and they're still unique, because Noctua's big thing is something unique, so that when people look inside your PC, they know, hey, that's a Noctua fan. They're not questioning whose fan that is. It's obviously Noctua. If there's a beige fan in a system, 99% chance it's a Noctua fan. So now if there's a bright silver fan, it's a really high chance that it's Noctua. But then their industrial PPC, it's black, but it's a kind of a shiny black, and then all four corners, the pads on them, are the brown, which those don't matter too much because they're little accents that they're not going to bother you if you want black fans, and then they still give that accent to let people know that, hey, this is a Noctua fan. There's no exceptions being made with this fan. It's a really good fan, so it's cool to see that. Their industrial PPC fans actually run at really high RPMs as well. They have their highest end 120 millimeter can run at up to 3,000 RPM. 3,000 RPM. It's PWM controlled as well, and it is about 43 or 46 decibels, I think it was, at that 3,000 RPM. So it's still quiet considering the amount of airflow that's moving. It's like 200 something CFM. So those are a couple things that I want to talk about PC. Daniel, can you think of anything else about PC updates wise?
Not really. I haven't been looking at PC news a whole lot in the past couple of weeks, though.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. If there's if there's anything you want to talk about, though, go right ahead.
A lot of changes in Microsoft trying to play catch up on the Xbox One.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So for one, they threw out Kinect, and they're going to be selling a bundle that's the same price as the PS4 at $399, and that starts in June. So now the Xbox One has literally nothing special about it. At least before it had the voice commands. No. By not having the Kinect, you're losing out on functionality.
Yeah, I don't really like the idea of not having the Kinect, to be honest.
You're losing out on the ability to do gameplay recording because that's how you do it with the Xbox One. There's quite a few other things. The multitasking just isn't as good. They designed the OS too much around Kinect to get rid of it. If anything, what they should do is a $50 price drop and keep Kinect and just sell it at $450.
Yeah.
Instead, they decided to throw that out. You can still buy the model with Kinect, no doubt, and you'll be able to buy Kinect separately.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It doesn't make sense to have, you have this console that's built specifically to come with the Kinect. There was a reason that they started off with only selling it as a Kinect, is because pretty much everything functionality-wise involves the Kinect, whether it's, the motion control, not so much a big deal, but the voice commands is a big deal. So I really wish that maybe next time, and they maybe would have to make an extension adapter that would come with it as well, but next time Microsoft builds a console like this, which would be a long time, I think that the microphone should either be an external plug or built into the console. That way, if they do, because the Kinect's going to keep going, the voice commands, I think, are one of the more important aspects of the Kinect for the OS itself.
Well, there's already rumors too that they're going to be either with a future version of the Xbox One or with their next gen system, that they would include Kinect, be built into the console.
Yeah, that would be cool. They could even put, they could put multi-microphones around them too, which would be really cool, and the system would decipher according to what microphone. So if you had a controller and the controller was closer to you, you wouldn't have to yell. You can just talk, and it would grab the audio. I don't even know why they didn't do that this time. Putting the mic on the controller just seems to make sense to me.
Yeah, the controllers, Microsoft has enough battery issues with controllers, and the fact that their controllers still don't include integrated batteries.
Yeah.
There's enough that they have to work on with their controllers. Let's not throw a microphone into the mix. I'm sure they would screw that up.
Yeah, I agree. Because their controllers,
proprietary mic jack, they need to stop with the requiring AA fucking batteries.
I know.
Stop trying to sell $15 batteries for rechargeable, and just fucking grow up.
I think the issue when it comes to the Microsoft controllers too is that the Xbox 360 controllers, they weren't high tech by any means, but they were built really, really solid. The joysticks were nice. They didn't break when people got angry at their games. So they'd been rated to be better than the PlayStation controllers because they were flimsy and broke. Not that you should be throwing your controller or smashing it anyway. But the Sony controller had the accelerometer design in it so that you could use it for a steering wheel, and it was a jump in controller technology rather than let's make thicker plastic. But people really like the 360 controller, and I think that's the problem with the Xbox One, is Microsoft was so confident that if they kept it generally the same, that people are still going to be just as happy. And the problem is, once you get that durability factor down, then you start adding in the things that matter, like, you know, an integrated battery, which increases the durability even more. Or how about a mic, or, you know, accelerometer or whatnot. They need to add more things in there, because honestly, they're priced right next to the DualShock 3. Yeah, they're nowhere near as good, because the DualShock 3 has also got that durability factor in it now too.
Yeah, I mean, if you compare, and it's the DualShock 4 for the PS4, by the way.
Sorry, why did I say 3?
I don't know. But if you compare the two controllers, I mean, so the Xbox One controller is your standard controller, plus it has rumble in the triggers, and that's really all there is to it. I mean, it's literally a standard controller, but plus rumble in the triggers.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at the PlayStation 4 controller, you have the touchpad, you have motion, you have a built-in speaker. There's just so much more that they integrated with it. Plus,
yeah. You even have the light on the back so that the eye camera can sense it for motion control.
Mm-hmm.
So you not only have the motion control accelerometer built in, but you have the eye being able to sense it. So, and I still don't like, I like the Kinect idea behind waving your hands and whatnot at it, but I still think that there needs to be work done on that, and I still prefer having something that is a controller that I physically feel to interact with it, because I feel like I need to be touching something when interacting with something like that. That's why I feel like, you know, touchscreen or, you know, hologram type stuff is really cool, but I've always felt that motion control, I feel like having a controller just feels a lot more solid, because I feel like doing something where, you know, say example, you're reaching out to touch something in a game or pick up something, to have the feeling that you're not actually picking it up, but your character's picking it up, just seems stupid to me. It just doesn't feel right. If you're holding something in your hand, though, and you make some sort of motion, it feels better to me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like you were saying about the controller too, I have big issues with Microsoft's controllers, because they're so last gen. And honestly, I think that they were a downgrade, because they don't feel quite as solid as the 360 controllers. I really honestly don't like the look and feel of them as much as the 360 controller either. And the joysticks made me angry. The joysticks were too loose. They didn't move smoothly like I'm used to, where you have enough resistance that you don't just push them all the way. You know, the 360 and the 360 controller, as well as the DualShock 3 and 4, all have that, where you're just pushing part way, and you can feel the resistance so that you can actually move at the speed that you want.
Mm-hmm.
That's been always a thing that helped me out a lot, and that was even more persistent on the 360 controller than the PS3 controller. But now I feel like...
Why do they need to shrink the size of the joystick so much? Like, I have small hands, and I'm like, why did they make this so small? It makes no sense. The other ones were perfect.
Yeah, yeah. I don't understand what they did with it. I feel like they just took a step backwards.
Yeah,
honestly,
they did a lot with that.
I feel like they took a step backwards in every direction, because it's more expensive, it's cheaper, thinner plastic, and the joysticks aren't anywhere near as good. And I don't even like the D-pad as much on it, honestly.
Yeah, I liked the D-pad of the... Do I have one with... Oh, yes. This is my favorite D-pad that Microsoft's done.
I agree. I like that D-pad because it's 6-axis, and it's not just regular 6-axis. You can actually press those other 4 directions, unlike something that's just a 4-directional D-pad. It might have the 6-axis feature, but you've got to press 2 buttons at the same time in order to get that extra axis. And so I like that a lot, honestly. I didn't like it at first, but it depends on what games you're playing too. Obviously, like Nintendo, it would be stupid for them to go with that. Nintendo, you want 4-direction because of the type of games that you're going to be playing with a D-pad. But yeah,
I see it is you either need to have like a rotating D-pad like they had on this controller, where you can switch between raised and easily hitting all 8, or you just need to do what Sony does with everything and have them separate buttons.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, do you have a DualShock 4 and 1 controller close by?
Yes.
See if you can grab those so we can show a comparison of what's going on. Because I really like to show that. So everyone, while Daniel's doing that, I guess I will talk a little bit more about my personal build update and what's happening this summer, which is going to be called Project Patriot. I don't know if any of you have known that yet. I'm using the white Fantex Enthoo Primo along with color changing LEDs inside that will usually be on white, but they're just color changing because I feel like it. Um, hold on just a second, Daniel. I'm going along with a little bit more of a build update. Okay, so then I'm also, I'm calling it Project Patriot. It's red, white, and blue. I've got the red motherboard along with red graphics cards that I'm throwing in, and then I want to do blue coolant with a custom loop at some point, but that's going to have to wait till next summer. So it won't actually be done probably until next summer. But I'm still going to grasp the red, white, and blue theme this summer. So I'll be putting in a Corsair AX1200i power supply to power the two R9 290s that I'll be putting in there, which are going to be the Asus Direct CU2 versions. So we'll give you build log updates of this as it goes. I'd also like to get blue BitPhoenix Alchemy or not fan extension, cable extensions, so we can get that blue aspect in there. So that we'll have blue and red accents along with a really big white case. So I think that'll look really nice. So we'll be sure to bring build block updates of that for you guys, because that's going to be pretty sweet. And then it's going to have dual R9 290s, an AMD 9370. So it's going to be an AMD build, which kind of goes along with the red part of it, I suppose. So it's nice to see that. And then I do want to do rigid PETG tubing next year during the summer, which if you guys don't know what PETG tubing is, it's essentially the same thing as acrylic solid tubing, but about 10 times stronger. So it's not going to break, which I do take my computer places, so I don't want it to break while I'm going over a bump on a road or something. So I want that really solid tubing. There's comparison videos that you can look up if you guys want. I mean, you can hit PETG with a hammer really hard and it doesn't break. Acrylic will just crack and shatter, and there goes all your liquid. It's all over your computer, so you have to wipe it all up. And if you're using a conductive liquid, or if it's become conductive over time, then you have big issues. And then you also stain your car, and it's a mess. It's no fun. So anyway, Daniel, you got the controllers?
Yes, I do. So here's the Xbox One's D-pad.
Yeah, it's just no. I really don't like it.
And DualShock 4.
DualShock 4, yeah. Talk again so it pops up.
DualShock 4.
Makes the most sense there. See if you could do a joystick comparison as well, so you can show people the difference between what Microsoft's done.
So I can show you kind of what it looks like. It's kind of hard to get it at a good angle with this terrible lighting that I have.
Yeah.
This is the...
They're fairly small, as you can see, and if you notice when he wiggled them there, they move really quickly. There is no real resistance to them. They don't feel solid. They feel like a flimsy toy.
And then the DualShock 4. Right,
it has a little bump in the middle that you can see there.
And they also have a lot, not just do they have a little bit more resistance, but they also have a lot more travel room.
Yeah, that too. I noticed that too, that there's the Xbox ones feel flimsy, loose, quick, and yeah, they seem like they get to the point too quick too. And I really don't like that, because I think the whole point of the analog thing is, yeah, when you're sniping, you can actually aim where you want instead of back and forth, back and forth. Whenever I play on a console, especially playing something like COD or something like that, or any FPS game, I have a huge issue, which I like fairly high sensitivity, but I always end up turning it down because of this issue, where I'll be shooting at someone with a machine gun, right, and I will have shot off plenty of shots to kill them before they hit me, but I will have missed, and it's not that I'm not aiming at them, it's that I can't get a precise shot, so I'm continually holding my gun and just wiggling it back and forth across them, so only about a quarter of the actual shots that are coming out hit them, and then I end up getting killed before they die. And that's because I'm trying to get the joystick right, but it just keeps going.
Well, also part of it is that you are a PC gamer, and PC gamers always kind of have this issue with consoles just due to the fact that you're not used to auto aim. Where on just about every console shooter nowadays, it's going to interfere with your aiming. So if you're trying to think as you would on PC, where you have to compensate for every movement, you don't actually have to do that on console, and that's what makes the really good console players really good, is that they know how to use the auto aim really well. And so that does play a part in it. Yes, I understand what you're saying. I just want to mention, that's going to play a big part in PC gamers having issues with.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But just to give everyone some news, I'm not a longtime PC gamer. I used to be mega console until the last 2 years, and I still had the same issue with my console back then. Even with aim assist, I never could get it right because it was always moving back and forth, and I don't know. It's just me. Sometimes I could get it right, sometimes I couldn't. It obviously depends on how far away they are. I really don't like that, and so I've always liked, the Xbox controllers for the 360. I could feel a lot better where I was moving the joysticks, and I preferred that a lot so that I could actually get a solid aim, which playing games, especially like Halo, of course, matters a lot because every single shot counts. You're not killing them in half a second like you are in COD.
What I need is a console with the multitasking capabilities of the Xbox One and the controller of the PS4, and it to not be made by Microsoft, and I'll be happy.
There you go. There you go. And the virtual reality features that
well, yeah, but those are coming.
Yeah. So, see, actually, I would like you to hold up the 360 and the One controller kind of next to each other, if you can get them both into view, just so that people can kind of see the difference between them. See kind of exactly what we're talking about with the joysticks having issues and being so much different.
It's kind of hard to get them both decently next to each other, but there you go. Titanfall.
So if you guys can see there, see how much of a change it is. Say something again, Daniel.
Okay. Yeah, here are the two controllers. There. Yeah.
So, yeah, if you guys look at that, you can see not only are the joysticks smaller, they're also up a little higher. They don't have as much travel room. You don't have the 6-axis D-pad. The ABXY buttons are flimsier. They click in too easy. They don't have a solid feedback, as well as the I actually don't even like the Xbox button on it anymore.
I just hate how high up it is. That was what bothered me ever since seeing this controller. And
Yeah.
I understood why they moved it. They actually moved it specifically for people that play fighting games. Like, they took fighting games way too much into account on this controller. That's why they changed the D-pad like they did. And I understood, and it was a valid complaint for fighting gamers, that the D-pad was terrible for fighting games on the Xbox 360. But they had fight sticks, and that's what most of you used anyway. So
But the other issue, too, is if you're playing fighting games, the best ones are for the PlayStation for the most part anyway. So having the PlayStation D-pad is best for fighting games, too.
yeah, but this is definitely, well, this was the best middle ground, and that's what Microsoft was going for, was the best middle ground. But moving this way up here, it's not that big of a deal when you have Connect, because I just do most of the stuff that, like, all this does, it's no longer like a guide menu. All it does is take you back to the dashboard.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a fucking useless button. I can do that with Xbox. Xbox, go home.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that the middle ground thing is kind of an issue with them, actually, is to do middle ground, you're settling for things on both sides and then just pissing both sides off more. And so I think since the 360 was such an FPS focused console, they should have kept the Xbox One as an FPS focused console when it came to the controller.
Well, that would have also been a bad idea, though, because, like, they didn't know that the current new systems were going to be so popular with FPS. When 360, that was just Call of Duty hitting. Obviously, that's not going to stay the same. First-person shooters are very, very quickly declining in popularity. I guarantee you, this gen is going to have a lot of open-world, third-person action games.
I like those better too, because first-person shooters, I feel like they're just repetitive over and over, and they do get boring after a while. I mean, some people still like them a lot, and I'm not trying to knock them at all, but there's not that much creativity in them either, which is what frustrates me. Like Titanfall, for example. Titanfall is a very, very good game. I really have fun playing it. I enjoy it. I play it like 3 or 4 times a week for like 2 hours. 2 hours every time I play it. I mean, it's a good game. I like it. I don't really get bored of it per se, but I have issues with the creativity in it, the fact that there's a very short list of guns, very short list of sidearms, short list of this.
That complaint, though, is for 99% of people a complaint that they make just to complain, because in reality, look at what happens after the first week of playing a game. So the first week, or let's say first 24 hours of actual gameplay, you experiment with every gun you can just to see what you like best. You find something you like best, and then you use that for the next 7,000 hours of gameplay, or however much fucking time you want to play the game.
Yeah.
But That's how it is with every game, so there's really no point in giving people hundreds of choices. You're just going to waste time for the 3 or 4 people out of every 100 that buy the game that might actually use a different gun.
Okay, I see your point there, but if they give more guns to choose and more weaponry and customizability, people can find that thing that suits them more because everybody does have a
But you're
higher.
also going to have more people complaining about balancing issues.
Yeah, I agree. And so
Never balance the game perfectly.
what I'm trying to put out more so than the lack of weapon choice is the lack of creativity in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like there's enough maps, which is one thing. There needs to be more maps on a game like that. They better have a DLC soon. But I feel like,
DLC.
huh?
They just came out with DLC.
How come I did not hear about
I
this?
don't know if it actually launched, but I know that there is DLC for Titanfall.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I did have a bit of an issue though with it, with the fact there's no campaign. So I feel like there's no, even though it's a really good game, I'm not knocking it at all. Any of you that
I'm glad there's no campaign. That would have been a complete waste.
yeah, any of you that are buying that like FPS games, buy Titanfall. It's great. There's nothing wrong with it that I'm saying. I'm saying lack of creativity, I feel, is what I'm trying to say there is a game like Titanfall is a repetitive game. You're going to go, you're going to play it for 10, 15 minutes, and then you might stop. That's cool. Something more like Skyrim, or what you were saying, third-person, storyline games take a lot of in-depth development, and that is what hardcore gamers a lot of times are getting into, is rather than beating people as best they can, it's going through the story and just learning about this alternate universe. That's why people were so obsessed with things like Pokemon back when, Pokemon's still popular, is because of the in-depth that goes behind it. Or people obsessed with Elder Scroll games because they've played all of them and they all have so much content that it's just beyond belief.
By the way, Titanfall's first downloadable content actually did already launch 10 days ago.
Really, it did?
Yeah.
I didn't know that unless, oh, okay, yeah. Origin notified me. I didn't know that. That's actually surprising to me, honestly. Let's see what it adds exactly. We'll give you guys
Just like 3 new maps.
the final hours of Titanfall. Wow, that came out really quick. It's $2.
What?
It's $2 or?
That's not DLC.
Oh no, that's not the thing. It didn't display the right thing. I was like, what is this? No, it didn't display the right thing. What is it? Is it the Expedition?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So $10 for a DLC. That's actually not too expensive. And you're going to be getting 3 new maps: Swamplands, Runoff, and War Games. Okay, I like that a lot, actually. More maps on a game like that's really important to me. Because, yeah. I do, again, though, I still feel like that game in particular has a lack of weaponry, even though I do see your point with this.
Good.
But I feel like they should have had about twice as much as they do. I mean, you literally have, you have 8 weapons to choose from.
Here's what they did. They pretty much put in one of each type of gun and said, that's enough, which is a good thing. They have a semi-auto pistol, a full auto pistol, and a burst pistol. You really don't need much more than that. Why do you need, most games have, 4 semi-auto pistols? Why? 4 fucking burst fire pistols? Why? 4 full auto pistols? Why? Why do you need that much?
Yeah, okay, yeah, I see what you mean. But here's where I'm going into it more, is that it's not just the lack of weaponry. You need one of every type, and I agree with that. And I think that having multiples of every type is stupid, because then you just have the things, and you could actually get 2 weapons that are totally different and then change their additives and make them equal. So what they really need to do is they need to add more expandability, whereas you can customize the weapon even further to what it can do, so that you can take that, that single burst pistol, and then you can customize it to be really powerful and kind of, shooting a little slower, or holding less rounds or something. There should be an up and down level to it. And I think that would be really cool if they could add something like that in it, or if they make the next Titanfall game. I think that would be something that would be really cool to see. Because I would like to see your choice of what type of weapon you're best with, and then actually moving it to how you like, with options more than just, hey, you can put the sight on or add a fast shooter or a new magazine. but actually real customizability on the guns. Because I mean, a game like Call of Duty, obviously they're adding in, they're trying to make it realistic, so to speak, with the additives and stuff. But something like Titanfall, they have the option to put stuff on there that doesn't currently exist today, and may never exist, may be impossible for a weapon, just because it's an alternate world. They can do that if they want. They could do something that
But again, it's in reality, it makes no sense to do all of this. Yes, it'll please people for a week, but then 99% of people are all going to use the same thing.
Yeah, I suppose. I guess I see your point there. I'm not an FPS gamer in that sense. I like the more customizability, but that's for me because I don't.
Customizability, play Destiny. Oh, wait, PC gamers. Haha.
Well, Destiny will be out for PC at some point. We just don't know when. The guy talked about it. He said that they haven't done it yet because for Bungie to be releasing a game on so many platforms already rather than just one is a big deal. Trying to push it to PC, which you can do a few consoles and stuff, and they're all fairly similar, so you can launch for all of them at the same time without too hard of a push. But transferring something to PC is going to something completely different. It's a completely different level where they have to do a lot of stuff to get things to work correctly. You're not just dealing with, oh yeah, swap the joysticks and then change the letters on these weapons and then make sure it's compatible with the API. But it's got to work. It's got to have the mapping capabilities of everything that you do with all your.
It still may never come to PC though.
Huh?
It still may never come to PC. They said that they look forward to future conversations around PC, as in it's possible.
Yeah. It should come to PC. I read a lot of articles about it.
They're not going to come out with it in the first year. I don't see the point because of just how Destiny is being set up. It's a 10-year franchise. Which means that, and with how story-focused it is, I'm guessing your saves carrying over are going to be a big deal. And if they don't come out with the first one in the first year, say each one is 3 years out.
Yeah.
If they don't come out with the first one in the first year, that means you're not going to have as much time to play, and especially in a game like that, that might actually matter on PC. So they might as well just wait till the second one comes out. But then you're missing out on the first.
Yeah, I see what you mean, and I think. What I really hope that Bungie does is once they release it for all the consoles.
Funny as fuck.
Once they release it for all the consoles, and then they get all the polishes out for the first month of all the little glitches and stuff, and update it and fix all the little things, they should then focus really, really hard on making it compatible with PC and just keeping their servers up to date. And then
just fuck the PC.
And then add more in later, because PC gamers. PC gaming on a game like that would be really, really cool to see, as well as the whole 10-year length thing is also a really cool thing for PC, and it would frustrate people having a PC to miss out on all that.
Well, if you only have PC and no consoles, you're kind of missing out on a lot of things anyway, so you can't get mad that you're missing out on another game just because it's Destiny.
Well, yeah, but specifically that game is going to attract more people than something like Infamous, for example. Infamous is a great game, but it's a particular game to the type of person you are a lot of times.
Yeah.
A game like Destiny is a game that kind of has some of everything. Everybody's going to want to play it. And so missing out on something like that's frustrating. And for me, I'm not going to buy a console for one game. I've done that before. I bought an Xbox 360 Slim to play Halo. And that was a very bad decision. That was a bad decision.
It's Halo. Halo's not that good of a franchise.
At that point, all of my friends played Halo, and I enjoyed playing with them, so that's why I got it. But, I mean, I started... I don't know. I would never do that again. I stick with one thing, and PC has the most of the types of games that I like on it. Big games, as well as it has a bunch of little games, and stuff like that. But, Destiny is a game I think really needs to be pushed to PC. It needs to be a cross-platform game. Now, one of the biggest issues, though, is in case you guys don't know, Destiny is a game that's going to be built so that you actually have cross-platform compatibility. Your buddy has a PS3 and you have an Xbox One, and you play together.
Can't happen.
I just read about it. It's cross-platform.
Microsoft will not allow cross-platform with PS3 and Xbox. Will not happen. Microsoft straight up said no. That's why the Final Fantasy multiplayer game is not happening on Xbox, because it's not allowed. It's against the terms and conditions for developers. So, and it's a PS4 focused game, so I'm sure they could get Sony to pull some, to change their policies, but
Well, let me check in on this really quick.
it might be cross-generation, but it's definitely not going to be cross-platform.
Okay, so what the design of it's going to be, let me read into it a little more. But I think what it's going to be is it's going to be a cross-platform compatibility, not necessarily playing together, but stats-wise and stuff like that.
The only thing I'm finding is that Destiny's saves can be transferred from old-gen consoles to next-gen, or to current-gen consoles.
Yeah, yeah.
But you have to stay on the same brand. So if you have a 360 and then you get smart and get a PS4, you're fucked.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you want to play Destiny, I just buy a new console.
Go ahead and talk about something else. I'm going to research this a little bit to make sure I find out. Because from what I endured from it last time, I realized that it was going to be cross-platform. That's what I read about.
Nope, not happening.
But, yeah.
That's not going to happen. To continue with the talk about Xbox One, there was a couple other things. For one, it's getting a couple of much-needed updates, one of which I'm actually excited about. So for those that don't know, on the Xbox One, the hard drive is not really replaceable. I mean, you avoid your warranty by doing so, I mean, it's a pain in the ass. But with this new update coming out next month, you'll be able to use 256 gig or larger USB 3 external hard drives and actually store everything on it, and it should run just fine. Games, movies, all that. The important thing is games, since every game has to be installed just like the PS4 and the PS3. So about damn time. Also, Microsoft is copying Sony with the real names thing. You will be able to essentially go through your friends list and select which people you want to be able to see for your real name. Whoop-de-fucking-do. And other than that, they're fixing Xbox Live Gold by getting rid of the requirement to have Gold just to watch Netflix, which you already pay for.
Okay, so I found the article I was reading. This is from Eurogamer.net. Bungie explains why there's still no PC version of Destiny. So just making sure I give them credit there. So it states, Parsons also said creating and releasing a PC version of Bungie's shared world shooter would not be as easy as many believe, because all versions of the game connect to the same persistent video game world, which itself extends to multi-platforms. And then Parsons quotes, quote, "It is not nearly as simple as you think," he said. "It is one central world no matter what the platform, and so that requires a lot of intensive thought."
Yes, but you still can't play with, like, you won't be able to match up with PS4 players on Xbox One.
Okay. Are you clear about that?
Yes, I guarantee you.
Okay. Because it seemed like, from what I got from it, that's what it was going to be. But I guess it could be a cross-world where, I mean, you could even have trading between different consoles, stat sharing, and it gives you a list of all the players, chat and stuff like that, but not actually playing together, maybe?
It's not going to be that in-depth, I guarantee it, just because of Microsoft's restrictions.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we can get something where Xbox One and Xbox 360, PS3, PS4, them compare at. Maybe? I don't know. That's possible. Yeah.
But I guarantee you it's not going to be truly cross-platform.
Yeah. I'll do a little more research on it to make sure. But, yeah. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about today, or not?
Not really. Again, not a whole lot's happened. I mean, in 2 days we have an LG G3 announcement coming. I'm actually excited for that. I might actually buy that phone.
Oh, okay.
Other than that, not a whole lot that I can think of that is actually good has been announced.
Yeah, I haven't seen much either.
I mean, there's so much coming in the next couple of months. We have the LG G3, obviously. We have the Moto 360's announcement. Apple has WWDC next month. We have E3 next month. All of the announcements are coming. And so we're not going to see a whole lot over the next week or two.
Yeah. You know, I
What,
guess
have
there is
you
one.
seen the leaked iPhone 6 like mock-up devices?
Oh yeah, I
I
saw some of those.
I'm liking what I'm seeing just by the fact that with a case it's as thin as an iPod Touch. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that would be impressive, but I'd rather have it as thick as an iPhone and have it, last
You'd rather have it as thick as a
as
can of
everything.
soda and last you a week. I'm just saying it's impressive that they can fit that tech into that, especially since also they are supposedly going to have like the full glass be sapphire. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some scratch testing when I get one.
So I guess something that I could mention is
Watch
so
Dogs.
what?
I had to interrupt you and say Watch Dogs.
Oh. Well, talk about Watch Dogs.
What's there to talk about? Everyone knows about Watch Dogs. It's like one of the most hyped games of recent, other than Destiny.
Yeah, that is
And
true.
it comes out on Tuesday, and some people have it, and I hate them. And I've been watching live streams, but I've been trying not to watch live streams because spoilers.
Yeah.
I'm going to the midnight launch. I will be playing the shit out of that game the
You should
short amount of time I am home this week.
stream some of it.
No,
Why?
because
Dang it, Daniel, you're good at
no
stream.
open world games for me, like multiplayer is one thing, but when I'm playing single player, it's not the type of thing it's not the type of thing I enjoy having to force myself being entertaining while playing. I like to just sit there and be immersed. And when I do that, I don't really talk, and that makes the streams boring. And if they're going to be boring for me and boring for the people watching, why would I do it?
I guess I see what you mean.
So,
Something that I wanted to talk about actually. Some of you people may be a fan of Klipsch Audio. If some of you haven't heard of them or anything, Klipsch, they make some of the highest quality audio components in the world, and in my personal opinion, they make the best audio equipment in the world. And what?
what?
They make really high quality components, and their stuff isn't overpriced for what you're getting. That's what I really like about them. Is you spend $32,000 on your surround sound system, and you're getting $32,000 worth of surround sound, which they do make a $31,500 surround sound setup. But my point here is when you buy something from them, you're not paying a premium because of the name or premium because they say it sounds good. You're paying for the actual high quality of sound that you're getting, which that's something that's really cool about them that I've always liked. So Klipsch they kind of entered the gaming world a little bit back when they released their Pro Media 2.1 and their wireless Pro Media 2.1, as well as I believe they had a Pro Media 4.1. Somebody had told me that the other day. I've never actually heard of them. But anyway, they released these speakers, and they were desktop speakers for your PC. But they actually sounded really good, and they were really kind of almost tuned towards gaming in a way. They were built really, really, really well, and yeah, they rumble everything. They sound good with not only music, but the explosions and everything sound very, very realistic with them. And I think one of the main reasons that people bought them was because of just how high quality they sound and how perfect they were for gaming. I mean, I think gaming was one of the big things about them too. So what's interesting is Klipsch now just entered the gaming world officially. They announced their KG200 and KG300 gaming headsets. The KG200 is available right now. You can get it for, I think you can get it on Amazon. I'm checking prices right now since this is a live stream. But anyway, they're gaming-specific headsets with microphones. Only one complaint that I have about them so far, and I haven't used them, of course, but my first complaint about them is the fact that they have a glossy band, so they do scratch if you don't take really good care of them. But the price-wise, they're really cool. $130 for the KG200. They're not surround sound, but you're gonna get really, really high-end sound from them, and you can use a virtual surround sound thing to make them sound better if you really care that much about surround sound. But they're really good gaming headset for really, really cheap. You will not find any gaming headset in the world that sounds that good for $130. The closest thing to come to it is probably a Logitech, but you know, just incredible. And then they are going to sell their wireless version. I believe the rumored price is $200 flat. They're not currently selling them yet. They're still coming soon. I don't know why they're taking so long to release them. It's kind of odd clips, but it's a wireless headset. But the thing I like too is they didn't just take the exact same thing and then cut the wires. Obviously, the wireless section also it comes with a dock, so you can hang them, so you're less likely to break them, which is cool. It also uses AAA batteries, I believe. Triple or double A batteries. Yeah, 3 AAA batteries. That'll give you, they say, hours of gameplay, so I don't know the actual lifespan, but it's probably fairly good knowing them. But the nice thing about that is you're not having to charge it all the time, and charging headsets are nice, but they're also inconvenient at the same time. But they also add more to the headset, where you're paying the extra $70, but you're not paying $70 for wireless, because a lot of companies try to do that, and wireless technology honestly adds like $10 to the manufacturing price, probably more like $25 when it comes to really high quality audio transfer. It's not something that's expensive that they should be charging such a premium for. So it also adds their patented sphere space surround sound, which they have been working on for, I believe, over a decade. I read pretty in depth about it, and it's designed to be complete 360 surround sound, not 7.1, but literally every aspect. There's 100% clarity from every possible direction, every degree, 360 degrees in all directions. So you're supposed to get really high-end audio. So we plan to get one.
360 degrees in all directions?
What I mean is like 360 forwards and sideways. So like you're getting the surround sound. I don't even know how to 360. Okay, shut up, Daniel. 360 like in a
just say spherical.
A sphere. It's spherical. Okay, there we go. But every degree point is supposed to be a point of audio, and I'm really excited to hear that. So I would actually really like to test those out, and I do plan to get myself a pair this summer once they're actually available, and test those out and review those for you guys. It is hard to review a headset, of course, because audio clarity, I can't show you how it hears or how it sounds. So since you can't hear it, yeah, I can't show you how it hears because I'm good at this. No, yeah, but I think it would be really cool to get one of those to review. I'll try contacting Clips and see if we can get one. But if not, I'll just buy one because honestly, I really want one. So it'd be really cool to bring our viewers that, though. Anything else in tech news that you can think of? I haven't noticed anything that huge over the last couple weeks.
The only other thing I can really think of, the Moto 360 is going to be somewhere in or around the $250 price point. There's a contest for the Moto 360. Winner gets a Moto 360, and for tax purposes, they had to disclose the estimated price of the product. And as of right now, that's labeled as $249. Now, Motorola did come out and say that this is just an estimate. It may be more, it may be less. They don't know. We have to wait until it's actually ready for release to know the exact price. But that means it's not going to be the $500 some people were worried about, which is great news. It's going to either be somewhere around $200 or the $250 that they're estimating, or $300. Either way, you know, it's honestly going to be worth it. But it's exciting to see that price point be the estimate.
Yeah, I agree with that. So actually, some news that just came out. So, and I don't know how new this is exactly, but I figured I'd go to Logitech's website and see if they have any updates, because they do some. I like checking them because they come out with stuff all the time. Logitech just released their new BMO, and I have actually never heard of this, but I believe it's really new. Their new BMO camera. So you guys have probably seen the flip cameras before. You know, they're a little rectangle, and they take HD video, and they have a little flip-out USB. Well, this BMO thing, seems to be substantially smaller than one of those. It's like half the size of an iPhone. And that's an iPhone. Yeah, half the size. Like, shorter and half the width of an iPhone 5, I should say. And, yeah, it's designed to record high-quality video. I'm sure it takes pictures as well. pretty sure. But yeah, it does time lapse as well as remote captures. It connects to your smartphone. It's rugged and water resistant. So this is basically taking where Flip failed in every direction because they literally made a box that records video, and just expanding it to something that actually does some really cool stuff and records really good video. It's high quality. It's $130. You're paying quite a bit for it. But if you take a massive amount of video, I would say that's completely worth it. If you're taking portable video all the time, you leave it in your pocket next to your phone and you take video with it. Of just your life, memories or whatever.
Your phone's camera, because they have those now. It's a new thing. Only a couple of phones have them, but phones have cameras, and they have.
Still not going to be as high quality as this, so that's the point of this. As well as this is it's rugged and durable. You could put underwater or whatever.
Get the S5.
Also, the remote
4K,
remote capture
waterproof.
too, though, because then you could.
And a Pebble smartwatch, so you can do remote recording. No need to buy an extra camera. Holy fuck.
It's still going to be higher quality, probably, in the most cases. I mean, some people still like to have that dedicated thing, too, because it doesn't have to be connected to your phone, and if you want to use it for something other than your phone or your phone's doing something else. Some people do like that. It's nice to have, so I would never use one myself, but it's still a cool thing that they came out with.
There was one thing I just thought of that was a big deal for tech stuff. Did you hear about solar roadways?
About what?
Solar frickin' roadways.
Oh, I heard a faint nibble of it, but I didn't really look into it.
So there's this couple that's working on getting, they designed these, essentially they're like little hexagon panels that would essentially replace our current roadways. They're durable enough to actually be roads. They are solar panels, so they would take in a ton of electricity, and you can use those for, obviously, anything that would need electricity. Part of when they take in electricity is also to give off just enough heat to keep them just above freezing so that there would never be ice on the roadways.
Wow.
In areas that would need that, they could implement that. They have LED lighting, so you would never have to repaint roads. You would just, if you needed to make a change for how the roads worked, whether it be through like the lines on the road or anything, you could do that. They have pressure sensors, so you could have algorithms that would be able to tell, so like say a boulder falls and the entirety of the road is blocked, or if there's some emergency stuff up around a curve, the road would be able to notify you of that ahead of time and just say, please slow down or something like that on the road that you'd be able to see. Or they could use those pressure sensors and implement them with signs on the side.
Or just go straight, beam it to the car. Cars could be connected through it. The GPS map systems could be connected to it.
Yeah, and so all of that, and then also because they're designed as just like little hexagons, if there was damage to one of the panels, they wouldn't have to repave the road. They just pick up that panel, place a new one down.
That's actually really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Although the likelihood of them getting damaged, it sounds, wouldn't be that high.
Correct, but it's something where
it's still good to have.
It would be a lot cheaper, or not necessarily cheaper, a lot easier. They are currently working on their.
Do they power themselves completely though? Are they able to absorb enough light to keep themselves powered?
Obviously, depending on the area, but yes.
Yeah, okay, because they would need to be hooked up to the grid. Are they going to be designed in a way to another implementation that they could do is when they are not, when they're taking in power and they're not utilizing it all, they could send that power to the grid and start powering.
That's what they're designed for.
Okay. Do they also transfer?
This is also designed to replace more than just roads. They want these panels to essentially replace blacktop.
That makes sense completely.
Sidewalks, anything that would require pavement outdoors.
What if do they transfer any form of electricity up where they could charge an electric car while it's moving?
No, but this is also still just the prototype.
Okay, because that's another thing.
Cars don't have that implementation.
Yeah, because that makes sense to have,
But even then, this would allow every parking lot to have free charging.
Yeah, so we would have. Your car would be charging whenever you're driving.
That's not even an issue, right? Like that's not even something they're working on right now.
I know. I'm just saying that it's cool.
I know, but I'm talking about the stuff that they're actually working on implementing. So
Yeah, yeah. I'm just listing the things off that this is capable of that we would see is so we would see your car charging all the time, so you don't actually need to plug it in. We would see, like you said, road changes and stuff being made whenever needed. We would see less hazards. If there's a crash, it would notify everyone behind that there's a crash. Also, this could go along really well with self-driving cars, because the self-driving cars, the computer network system would then know what the road is actually doing, and it would actually know where traffic is without having to use just a satellite image of traffic. I could see a lot of really cool uses for this. Like, I can see that being really, really cool. And the solar panel system, the only thing I worry about that is in rush hour when all the cars are slowed down and stopped, then they're taking in about, like, 3% of what they're capable of because they'd all be pretty much covered up.
So that's still better than what they're doing now with
Well, I
road.
know, it's still better. I'm just saying it's I wonder. I guess there'd be no real way to work through that unless we had transparent cars. But no, I mean that wouldn't be a problem because for the most part you're not going to have, for the most part you'd probably have like 80% of it being uncovered all the time. So and yeah, and then at night, well, if they're the right type of solar panels, they could also absorb light energy from the street lights, which that would seem really weird.
They would power themselves just.
That would be really, really, really weird.
But also,
Go ahead.
part of the design for solar roadways is not just counting the solar panels that would be on the road, but they have, like, they've been discussing a thing where along the sides of the roads, you'd have essentially two channels, one on each side. One would be used for all cabling, so you wouldn't need like actual cable or telephone wire or electricity. All of that would just go in these, so you can just get it out of the way. It would also be easier for maintenance. You'd never have down power lines, and it would make more sense, especially with power lines, to go through this channel because that way they could be hooked up to the solar panels.
Yeah, yeah.
But also on the other side, so that you'd have all of that on one side of the road, and then on the other side it could be used to just take in and get, like, if there's water on the road, have it all kind of like try to funnel into that, so this can be the out, like, way to get water out, so you have less like floods, things like that.
Yeah, and then it could all drain to a central system. So, what's cool about that, actually, you could eliminate a lot of under-road sewage systems because if you had a dedicated path like that running to a single drainage system that then drops down into the central sewage system, you wouldn't have to have, a storm drain like every block. Which is, I mean, that's one thing that always kind of makes me laugh. Yes, we used to have the sewers under there, of course, but being able to eliminate storm drains still is less drilling, less money, less of our tax dollars, regardless of the fact if the sewer still has to be there, making it so that we don't have to have a million storm drains is really cool. Because storm drains are also really bad for, like, cyclists and stuff like that. I think this would be really cool. Solar roadways, that's just a really cool design.
I sent you the link to it too, by the way.
Huh?
I sent you the link to it as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. That's actually a really, really good design. I do wonder, kind of, yeah, I like the solar roadway idea, actually. I really do, because it would be, I mean, the road would be like a screen, too, which is cool. And it doesn't need to be high-res or anything, of course. It could be, terrible resolution, because we just need lines and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder. Actually, I have a question. I doubt you know the answer to this, and I don't either. I should research it. But do you know if moonlight? I know moonlight can be captured in a way that solar light can to create energy. I know that. But can a solar panel be made to capture moonlight as well without having to change it around a lot? Because I know there it has.
Why it would have an issue?
It's just reflection. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But I've heard. I don't even know where, but I've heard
It would
about
give off less energy because it's less light. Like,
Yeah.
It might not be enough energy to be worthwhile, and that may be the issue.
That could be, I suppose. Because I'm thinking if you could have them essentially charging at night all the time, even though it would be slowly, then that would be provide better power, especially for something like rush hour or whatnot. We'd also obviously have them hooked up to the grid, so if ever they're incapable of powering themselves, such as a rush hour traffic jam issue, they'd just get power from the grid. So it'd be an up and down thing where sometimes they'd be giving, sometimes they'd be taking, and that would balance out really well. Most of the time they'd be giving, though. It'd literally just be rush hour on the freeways where we'd have issues with that. I also like the pressure sensitivity because it would also know how, if they're weight sensitive, it could know how large of a vehicle is in what spot and stuff like that. And it could even sense, you know, it could tell emergency crews or estimate what types of vehicles would even be in a certain crash. You know, so for example, if a bus crashes with an SUV, it would know that there's this larger vehicle there, and it could notify them that they need to bring more emergency crews because it could be like 25 kids that are hurt or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be really cool too. So
yeah, and it would make it, if they needed to study traffic patterns, obviously they would have a really easy way to do that.
Yeah, yeah. And I could see Google actually getting involved with this and doing something with this. That would be cool.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see them buy this.
Yeah. I actually hope to see this in my lifetime. This is a really, really cool.
Google, I could just see Google buying this and putting ads on the road.
Daniel, don't. You just give them the idea.
I don't see what people's problem with ads are, especially when the product is free.
Well, yeah, that's what makes me laugh too. Is it's like Google does such a good job of hiding the ads away, out of the way, on a free service, and people still bitch about the ads, and that makes me mad. It's just like they're ads. That's what helps pay for the free service that you're using that costs millions of dollars. It's frustrating because Google, I mean, the only profit they make is basically from ads, and then obviously selling out Android licenses and stuff. But the biggest profit they make is from
Android
ads.
licenses.
Huh?
They don't sell Android licenses.
No, well, don't they? Doesn't Samsung and stuff have to pay in order to actually use? Or no, it's open software. Duh. I'm an idiot because I'm thinking iPhone.
Because Apple doesn't let other companies make.
No, I know they don't, but I'm thinking.
Apple makes money from the apps that are sold on the Play Store.
Yeah, that's what I was referring.
But that's nothing in comparison to their ads.
I'm tired. Yeah, but yeah, their ads make amazing stuff. Now, I could also see Google Fiber being a big profit, which I want to see Google making more profit. People complain about them being too big of a superpower, but look what they bring to people for cheap or free when they actually have the money to do so.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're having Google Fiber now, destroying all other internet service providers at a price that's about half.
Big news about fiber and the whole net neutrality things. They will be offering free peering to anyone, including Netflix, for the whole, like, to improve video streaming.
Wow.
Which is a big deal and essentially a big fuck you to Microsoft, or not to Microsoft, to Comcast.
You know, I think too that Google, what they're doing with that is so cool too. That if you pay a $300 setup fee, you get free 5 megabits a second internet, completely free. Which obviously isn't much, but that's absolutely, if all you do is Facebook and maybe watch a couple of YouTube videos, that is plenty. Mm-hmm. 5 megabytes a second, that can do 1080 actually, can't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could literally, you know, you wouldn't be watching like 4 1080 videos at the same time on your network, but especially if you're just like a college student living at home and you're studying something, you're not into tech so much, but you just need good internet, you know, pay the $300 setup fee. And then there you go. You have internet that is absolutely plenty for any social networking you want to do, even website management you want to do, email, and even watching videos.
And think about this too. I mean, for things like apartments or like dorms in college towns, yes, it would cost a lot initially, but then they could offer, like, you know, if every apartment they did that $300, and I'm sure if they did it for every single apartment in the building, Google wouldn't charge them as much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You think get an entire apartment complex set up on that, and then you offer your residents free internet as part of the package, free 5.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, I think when Google does finally up, you know, what I could see when they up to 10 gigabit a second internet, which, you know, is years away. That'll happen in our lifetime though, which is awesome. But then I think they'll probably move the free up to like 100 megabits a second or something like that. So I think that it's really cool to see implementation of that. And Google's theory behind that isn't just, hey, people that want internet, that's cool. The biggest thing about the internet, and the thing that people a lot of times take the internet for granted, is the internet is information. And the thing is, that's what really frustrates me about society today a lot, actually. I'm not going to get too into that, but we use internet too much for socializing, and I think we need to use it more for the information because, you know, I mean, everything I know about computers and tech and all that has all come from studying stuff on the internet. and none from school, except a little bit of like programming knowledge. But the internet is full of information about any possible subject that you would want to get into. And that's what I think is really cool. What Google's is trying to show out there is anybody that can't afford internet now can, and they have access to all that information that they're going to be using to do absolutely anything with, learn whatever they want. So we can have people educating themselves to the point that they could then get the scholarships for college, go to college, get the degrees, and then we can see some serious innovation in this world. Because I feel like we have a big lack of innovation right now. You know, whenever there's something like the solar roads, I mean, we consider that a very unique moment when we come out with something that's really innovative like that. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah. You're typing really loud.
Huh?
You're typing really loud.
Yeah, I know, and that's on a Cherry MX Brown with freaking seals. But oh well. I just like my keyboard. I plan to keep this thing for, you know, like 2 years.
Get the Corsair with Cherry MX RGB, bitch.
I don't want to because I like white, so there's no reason for me to.
You can put it on white when you want it, and you could change colors to match your actual build.
But my build is gonna be white for the next 2 years.
I see.
Okay. No, I prefer the Logitech for a lot of other reasons too.
I know, because you're a Logitech fanboy.
I'm not a fanboy. Honestly, I'm not. I like their stuff. I would totally buy the Corsair one if I liked their stuff, but I like their stuff, but I prefer having the macro switches at the top dedicated and the extra button stuff. You know what? Shut up.
Fanboy hipster.
You know me that I'm not a fanboy. I'm not a fanboy to anyone. I like AMD better, but that's my own personal reason. I wouldn't recommend them to someone unless they were looking for the same types of things that I am. I'm not a fanboy. If somebody asked me to build a PC for them, I would, unless it was ultra budget, but they wanted a serious, like a good gaming PC, I would go NVIDIA Intel for them. So that's just me, and that's what I would do. So I mean, I'm not really a fanboy, you know. And you know, if somebody wanted, you know,
controlling the illusion of a battle. It's Android, it's Apple, it's Sony, it's brand.
Oh yes, that song is beautiful. It took them a while to make that.
Yes, it did. I can't stop staring at this Surface. This is so nice.
It is a nice Surface, actually. I'm really, really impressed with the new Surface. I finally think that the Surface has a real purpose now. When the first Surface and the second Surface came out, I always thought it was stupid, because I was like, yay, they took the keyboard and made it smaller, and you know, I felt it was nothing innovative. It was basically everything that we'd seen before, but with a kickstand and a magnetic keyboard. And I didn't think there was any innovation in it. I thought it was just, hey, Microsoft, we're cool, we make this, and it's better than the other ones, so we're going to charge you 3 times as much for the same performance. But I think now they're actually charging you, the price for it is worth what you're getting out of it, because you're getting something really cool. You're not just, literally what the old Surface Pro was a full Windows tablet with a magnetic keyboard. There you go. I mean, honestly.
It was essentially an Ultrabook.
It was essentially an Ultrabook with a it was an Ultrabook with a detachable keyboard, except it was focused more on tablet side than laptop side. Which there's both sides to the 2-in-1s that are coming out.
Yeah.
There's the ones that are more likely to be used as a laptop detachable if you want, and then the ones that, you know, just have the, you know, the tablet with a keyboard that you can attach. I actually really like the laptop design better, because then you can add the, like Asus did, you can add the extra battery life mixed in with the dock. So, you know, you use your tablet, and then when you plug it in, you're adding like 4 hours.
4 hours until Watch Dogs comes out. And in honor of that, you should watch this video.
I will watch that video at some point.
Watch it now.
No, I'm not gonna watch it now.
It's PC related though.
I will, just not now. I will watch it right after this because we're streaming live right now. Do you have any
Oh,
topics you can think of to talk about? I mean, I'm trying to think of some stuff, any new content we're bringing in. I mean, obviously we're going to keep bringing you guys the latest tech news and everything, and that's going to be really cool. Really cool to have the amount of viewers that we're getting is making us really happy. I mean, we want to keep doing what we want for you guys, so keep commenting and tell us what you want us to do different. I mean, obviously, try to refrain from saying things like get better cameras, get better mics. That's all about money, and we're talking more about the content. We're going to get better cameras and mics at some point, but not for a little while. Not substantially better, at least, because we're just going to wait until we have the money in a year or two and just go straight to 4K or whatever is that at that point and just drop like $5,000 on something really nice to bring you guys.
This is kind of a big deal. NVIDIA pretty much announced that they're giving up on smartphones. They're still doing mobile. They're just not doing phones. No more Tegra silicon.
Phones specifically, but tablets they'd still do then?
Tablets they're still doing. The Shield is going to be a heavy focus. They're going to implement their K1 in everything from set-top boxes to cars to the Shield.
I'm happy for that, actually. I like that a lot because I always felt that the Tegra and phones was really cool, but it wasn't utilized because I always feel like playing games on phones is stupid. Playing a game on a tablet, which I still don't like touchscreen controls, but that's me.
But
game on tablets, huh?
But CP Master Race, cell phone Master Race, it's the ultimate way to game.
I hate you. I
want to get that trending. That needs to be a trending hashtag. CP Master Race.
That's just pretty funny. I actually like that a lot. That's funny. But yeah. Anyway, I feel like gaming on a tablet or something of the sort is a lot better. In fact, I think it'd be really cool to see the Tegra being used in Steam boxes. Cheap Steam boxes, obviously.
That wouldn't work.
But well, yeah, probably still wouldn't have enough power output unless it was.
It's not even that. It's an ARM architecture. ARM architecture, yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. I actually didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
I haven't really followed the Tegras too much, though.
No, Tegra is all ARM.
Okay. Well, yeah, still, I like that they're refraining from phones because we need to leave Qualcomm and people like that up to phones. The Tegra phone that I had made me angry because the battery life wasn't good. You know, my old...
You had a Tegra 2 phone. The Tegra 2 was downright terrible.
Yeah, I had the Photon, and that was a Tegra 2, and it was.
Tegra 2 was just a terrible chip.
Yeah, so
Tegra 3 was pretty good.
Performance was beautiful, though. I liked playing NVIDIA Tegra games because they looked freaking amazing.
Yeah.
They were substantially better than the non-Tegra versions of them. Which, if our website had been around at that point, I would have made a comparison. But now it's kind of obvious and useless. Yeah, I'm glad that they're refraining from that, though. I like to see them in tablets because tablets, a lot of people will buy a 7-inch or a 10-inch or a 12-inch tablet specifically to play like Android games on. And having something that doesn't necessarily have the best battery life but has just the raw graphics performance is what they care about. And I like to see that because I want to see Android go off in a couple different directions where we stop having these ultra high-end processors that are never used because all the games out there are also built to work on the medium-sized processors. Just like, a Snapdragon 400 can play everything pretty much just as good as a Snapdragon 800. You're not gonna get quite as good FPS and stuff, but it's still totally playable and no problems there. I want to see to the point where you have settings and it'd be one simple setting. I don't want to see a million settings because then it gets too complicated. That's the things that people don't like about PC.
Riptide GP has that.
Oh yeah.
Even the first version had that.
Yeah, I'd like to see, just a setting that is like 5 levels of graphics or even 3, just low, medium, high, and you can set it to see how smooth it runs on your phone. Because I want to see the Tegra being at the top, along with like the Snapdragon 800 and stuff, being able to handle the highest end stuff, and then we can see the stuff scale back a little bit. So we start seeing Android actually go different directions with gaming, where you get better gaming if you buy a gaming-specific tablet, rather than buy a gaming-specific tablet or buy a non-gaming-specific tablet, and they're exactly the same. As long as they both have good processors. So I think the Tegra could push it into doing something more like that, because currently, pretty much every game out there will run on every phone. Snapdragon 400 and up. I haven't seen exact performance of the 400, but I know that the 400 quad core can do a lot when it comes to gaming. It's got good graphics performance. Snapdragon 600 can play anything. I've tried some of the highest graphics performance games for my Snapdragon 600 on my GS4, and it just breezes through them like nothing. They run absolutely, completely smooth, no lag ever. I mean, I was playing Epoch, and that game is insane when it comes to graphics. Of course, the phone battery died, like instantly. But, yeah, I still played really smooth and really great. There was no issues there. So, hopefully Android can start doing something like that. I'm glad you found that news, actually. That's cool. Oh, actually, that reminds me. AMD. AMD is actually doing something really cool. They just announced their new R series APUs, which are going to be getting put in like doctors' offices and stuff. Nothing big news for us, but their new APUs have really, really good performance to price. I mean, you're paying just a little bit. And I'll see if I can get some more exact info because it was a while ago that I read about them. The AMD, the embedded R series. Okay. The biggest thing about them, they support Mantle, which is great, but they're not built specifically for gaming or anything. What they're really built for is, more, I wouldn't say workstation, but not just web browsing and stuff. They're a specific task. But they support HSA. For those of you that don't know what HSA is, it's a really incredible thing that AMD has been aiming for with their APUs for a very, very long time. Before, and I'll get into HSA in just a sec, what AMD has always done with their APUs were designed to be a graphics card and a CPU together on one chip. And that's what they've done. But over time, what we've always had is the CPU tells the GPU what to do. The GPU may be getting utilized really well for performance in a game or even a rendering application or something, but the CPU is still encoding and communicating that to the GPU. So you're still putting a load on the CPU, so you still have to have a fast CPU, and that also increases latency times because it goes from the software, from the hard drive to the RAM to the CPU to the GPU to the CPU to the RAM to the, and it's no fun. And it made things worse. And when AMD put the chips together, which is the same thing with Intel's integrated graphics, sort of, although AMD has always been focused more on the graphics side, and they've always been better at it because of what they've been working for, what they've been aiming for, I should say, actually, instead. But they do decrease that latency because there's less travel time, there's less distance, which when you're talking, nanoseconds, the distance of, a nanometer compared to an inch is huge. So HSA. HSA is heterogeneous system architecture. Heterogeneous meaning, two, or together, sort of. So what they've actually managed to do, AMD has finally managed to do, anything application-wise that supports HSA can communicate directly with the GPU. So you can fully utilize the capabilities of a GPU, because graphics units they used to be just for graphics, and they blended into being able to do a lot more tasks that would normally be handled by a CPU. So being able to mix the two together, so literally whichever is going to be better at the task gets that task, is really incredible. So being able to see that implemented first in Kaveri, their APUs, that's really cool. We saw that the performance of anything that supported HSA was like 7 times faster than any other processor on the market, just because of the fact that it was able to utilize the GPU CPU together. And now they're implementing that in their R series. So if we can get more things to support HSA, which I think is the big thing that AMD is going to take off with. It's kind of been hiding back in the corner where no one's really paid attention to it when Kaveri came out. Everybody's paid attention to Mantle. Mantle is an API, but DirectX 12 is probably going to kill Mantle. I don't like to say that. Mantle still is going to run on the Xbox One and the PS4, but it probably is going to die because of DirectX 12. But Mantle, it's still a really cool thing, but HSA has been hiding in this corner, and it's really the big thing that AMD's just done, where, hey, look, we've just made it so that the GPU can actually do stuff that matters, and I'm really glad to see that. And I would actually really like to see AMD, so they might be announcing here in a year or two, probably a new CPU. What I want to see them do more so is completely cut off CPUs and just do pure APU.
That would be a stupid idea.
What?
That would be dumb. There are
What?
some things in which having an integrated GPU are just completely useless for.
Okay, yes, but put it this way. There's a reason for why I'm saying this. If they stop with the CPU and they make higher end APUs rather than just good APUs, but ones that are built so that the GPU itself isn't necessarily meant to handle graphics tasks as in playing games. You have a dedicated GPU for that, but building it together so that it still supports HSA, so you still get that absolutely insane performance when something does support HSA. So that's
Why don't they just, because there are always going to be things that will just run better on the processor than on even a GPU that supports HSA if the software supports it.
well, yeah, but then they just run on the processor. It's dedicated to what is better.
They need to keep something that's just CPU, just like the Xeon series from Intel, where there's no need for the integrated. So
I mean, I'm talking. Okay.
For certain applications, they would just lose out on the market for, because there's no need for the integrated GPU.
No, I'm saying specifically. Sorry, I shouldn't have said move completely and cut off CPUs completely. When I said that, I meant cut off CPUs mainly for like gaming desktops and stuff like that. Obviously, you still need the workstation stuff, and workstation HSA actually benefits, but server side especially, GPU server side, not a big thing. It could become a thing, but it's not right now. As far as I know, I want to put that out there. I'm not super into the server stuff currently. I haven't been studying up on that, but I'm going to be trying to work towards that over the next couple of years to really understand just how all the new ARM servers that AMD is actually working on are going to be. But I'm really happy to see AMD getting into things where they're not trying to compete head-and-head with Intel, because we all see how that goes, and that just hurts them. I like to see them doing the things that need to happen for other purposes that maybe don't directly affect us, but directly affect a lot of people that it matters to. And HSA is going to be a really big thing. And I hope that they release a cavalry system, and I don't know if they would be able to do this. They might have to have a different socket, because they might have to make the chip larger or something. I don't know how they do it. But to be able to have 8 CPU cores, 16 GPU cores, so you get really, really, really good GPU performance on games just directly from the APU. And then you could also have a dedicated GPU that would get you really good performance. And I'd like to even see dedicated R9 series GPUs, like the Hawaii GPUs, being able to do crossfire with the integrated GPU on the APU, like you can do with a R7 series alongside the current cavalry stuff. I'd like to see a tier up, if you know what I mean. I think that'd be cool. And then you'd still utilize the HSA technology, which would be really great too. So, yeah, there's actually an article on our website all about HSA if you guys are interested in that. You can just, if you go to the top of our website, there's a little search button in the top, and if you type in HSA, I'm checking here to make sure it's still working. Yeah, it still works perfect, yeah. You can go ahead and look up and see what HSA is about. We have an article that I wrote on here specifically about HSA and how it functions, and we do have a lot of companies that are backing it up, which is really cool. So I'm excited to see where HSA goes, not necessarily how it pertains to me, but how it pertains to other things, because I like to see where AMD, the company itself, is going. Is there anything new with Intel? I guess we could talk about Z97 a little bit.
Not really. I mean,
we talked about that last time.
Z97's been talked about to death by everyone.
I guess rather than talking about Z97, just talk about the fact that Z97 is being implemented better than any of their other chipsets, even though I personally don't like some of the restrictions of it and stuff, but we have a lot of really nice motherboards being launched on Z97, or yeah. Anyway, we have a lot of really nice boards being launched on Z97, H97, all those, and they're coming out with a lot. Where like ASUS has come out with like 5 recently or more, something like that, which they're also really focused on. ASUS, actually, JJ mentioned in a video I saw that one of the cool things that they're doing is any of their boards you buy, you're going to get really good overclocking potential. Obviously, that's thanks to Intel, where you don't necessarily need the best VRMs, you just need good VRMs to do really high-end overclocking. So you could get 3 boards, 3 tiers, one's really cheap, one's really expensive, and get just about the same overclocking performance out of them because of the way the Z97 and Hasbull's built. So I liked that. I thought that was really cool to see. And I like to see how Z97 is actually being pushed and they're actually doing stuff with it. It's not going to be a useless chipset like I kind of thought it was going to be. So I'm glad to see Intel doing a good job on that. And have we got anything about Haswell Refresh K yet? Because I mean, it was supposed to. It's getting really near, but I mean, I haven't really seen anything about it, and I've been trying to.
Because there haven't been actual like leaks as of recent.
I know it's weird, but we were supposed to hear more on May 11th, and they never announced anything. I don't know why. It's kind of weird. But yeah, it's really cool to see Z97 going places. And I think one of the cool things too that I'm seeing a lot of the board manufacturers really focus on now is they're focusing on the design of the board and how good it looks and stuff like that. Really extensively, even on the lower end boards. Obviously, you always have really kind of been able to get a really aesthetically pleasing board, but the lower end boards always look like crap. And ASUS, particularly in MSI, but it seems kind of like all the board manufacturers are really just making the stuff look really pretty. And I think that Z97 actually really allowed them to do that, to where there wasn't so many changes they needed to make when upgrading to this new chipset, that they were able to really focus on how can we make these look nicer, how can we make the color scheme match correctly, how can we, add these cool lighting effects and add really detailed features that make the general experience and use of the board better, rather than just making it more powerful or faster, which is something that I think really needs to be looked at really detailedly. Where, I mean, I just got my Crosshair V Formula Z ASUS board, and I didn't realize just how important and how you can't live without those features once you have them. The stuff that this board can do is absolutely incredible. Having a button that I can directly press that reboots me and throws me right into the BIOS. Little things like that really do matter a lot. And I'm really glad to see them implementing that. So I think Z97 was actually a really good move by Intel. I've changed my mind a little bit on that. I still don't like some of the restrictions of it, like I said. But yeah, I still think that Z97 basically opened us up to something that was ready, the next gen SATA Express and M.2, and then Z97 also opened up the motherboard manufacturers with the ability to not have to spend massive amounts of money on changing chipsets and being able to spend that money elsewhere on making really beautiful boards, so that you're not buying a crappy board that also looks crappy. It can be a board that performs decent and looks really good. So I can't really think of anything else beyond that to talk about, though. I mean, we've covered pretty much everything this week. I haven't heard too much going on lately. You talked about the Moto 360, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I did want to mention something that a lot of people thought, and we talked about this in one video too, that Google Plus was dying, and it's not going to be a thing anymore. That is pretty much wrong.
Not necessarily. Just because they update an app, if they're gonna update an app with an experimental UI like they did with Google Plus, it's best to do it with one of their least used apps. That way, if people don't like it, they can kind of retract what they're doing, unless people deal with it.
Okay, yeah, but I still don't think that Google Plus is dying in any way. I think
getting ready to die. It's not going to die in the next year, but it's going to die in a couple.
I don't know. I think it might actually go further. Honestly, that's me. I think it might actually excel and become something better, because just the features of it and stuff. It's honestly, in my opinion, but also looking at the way it functions and stuff, and looking at details like that, of course, most people don't. I'd say it's completely and easily the best social network out there.
But it doesn't matter. You know just as well as everyone else that sometimes the best doesn't always succeed.
Yeah, I know. But I think it might this time. There's still a possibility. I'm not saying it's super likely. But anyway, what I did want to say is that Google went through the effort to update their user interface for Google Plus on the mobile app, and I will say it is very nice. It's much easier to use, and they also fixed the issue that I always had, where with a case on, obviously you can't quite swipe from the actual edge of the screen. You can't swipe from off to on the screen, and I would have issues with dragging over some of the menus, especially the one on the left, because I couldn't actually get my finger over far enough to start
You
swiping.
can just press that button in the top left, though.
No, I know, but I didn't like that. I liked the swipe because it felt more natural to me. And so they kind of fixed that where it's easier to swipe over the notifications, and now they don't have the left swipe menu. They have it on the top, which makes more sense. So I do like it. I think Google Plus could go big places, but I think Google Plus maybe needs to stop trying to be Facebook. And I know that I'm not saying they're trying to be Facebook as in looks and design aspects, but trying to, hey, let's capture. What? Go ahead.
Twitter trying to be fucking Facebook.
Yeah, I know. But I think Google Plus, they need to stop trying to say, hey, the general public wants to use this, and say, hey, this needs to be like the tech-only social media type thing, or maybe even not so much that, but have a lot more specific uses behind it, where some people might not even be on Google Plus for the reason of checking social media updates, but checking tech news updates, or checking on what their work company has been doing, if there's any updates about a power outage at their work, if they have a day off and something is going
But
on.
at that point, why don't people just use Twitter? Because Twitter can do that.
Well, but I mean putting in business aspects of it and stuff. I don't mean updates like, oh no, the power's out. I mean like giving real in-depth statistical updates about things. And
so you make a blog post on your company's like private site blog, and then post a link on Twitter.
yes, but I'm talking
automatically on any half-decent blog.
But whenever I say something like this, Daniel, you take it the pinpoint reason I'm saying it. And I know you're also just trying to be an asshole. But
no, I'm just saying there's no real reason that, like, yes, I like Google Plus. Yes, it implements a lot that I really like, and I much prefer Google over the other companies running social networks. But there's really no need. It doesn't do anything innovative enough to change how we do social networking.
I disagree with that. I think it's the most innovative social network ever. Honestly.
Why? All it is Facebook plus Twitter.
I don't agree with that there. I mean,
the only thing it brought to the circle was Circles.
Circles is incredible, but there's more to it than just that. It's the way it's organized and stuff. I guess you wouldn't exactly call it innovative, but the way that things are implemented into it seems to function a lot better than any other social network. So I don't know. I guess I could see Google Plus being something that is a social network plus everything else and used for everything else more than the social network, and I don't mind that, actually. I think that it's something that is more like a centralized service aspect where you can do kind of everything from it. And Google Plus in a lot of ways has replaced Google Reader. It's like a feed reader built in now too. And I think just implementing a lot of features into one thing, which kind of makes sense for calling it Google Plus. So I wonder if that was the initial thought about it anyway. But I think implementing kind of everything and it all shoots down into one central place and webs off of Google Plus, social-wise with YouTube and anything else that they offer, business side, everything. I think that's a really good idea. I actually really do. I think that using it, yeah, you can use it as a social network if you want, but using it for like the stuff I use it for seems a lot better to me. It seems like it's something that nobody else offers. Especially, like, my biggest thing is the centralized notification system. I really, really, really like that, where I can see everything involving everything that I do in one notification center. So I'm not checking multiple pages to find out things about my email and things about my social network and things about my tech news and things about my YouTube and all that, right?
They need a way to separate it, though, because especially for someone like YouTubers, I don't really want to go on Google Plus, on my personal Google Plus, and see all of my YouTube comments from my YouTube comment page.
But you don't, because you have a separate account for your YouTube. And so if you set it up correctly, just like we have.
Except for the fact that they forced you to get not just a Google Plus page for YouTube accounts when they did the initial switch over. They forced you to set up a personal account if you wanted to be able to reply to comments. If you just had a page, you couldn't do that. That's why my YouTube channel, I can't reply to comments unless they're a direct reply to one of my comments.
Yeah. Okay, I see that. Yeah. there are things that need to be fixed, but I like the way that they have things built up on there. And if Google keeps listening to what people say and understanding that it's not Facebook and Twitter and it's not supposed to be, I think it could go somewhere. It could be something big and actually important again. I mean, just looking at it right here, I mean, there's a lot of really cool stuff about it, and I think also the communities is huge. Communities is huge. It's basically a forum that you can start and manage about anything, and it's right there integrated with everything else you do. Just like your photo storage is right there integrated with anything else you do. Or your events contact. Yes, I know Facebook does stuff like that too, but your events are all right.
The photo backup now.
Huh?
Facebook also has where you can auto-upload photos.
I know, but Facebook's photo system sucks. I hate it. But that's my personal opinion. When I used it, and I don't use Facebook anymore, but when I did, I hated the way it functioned. It was terrible to me. But yeah, I think that if it stops, which I think it kind of has, trying to be the other social networks, because copying other ones never works, and be something new, that's really cool. So, anyway, I think there's pretty much not anything else left to talk about. This has been the longest one yet. Or has it been? Yeah.
Just because normally you have to go to bed because you have school because you're 5
Yeah, I understand that. But, yeah, at least I don't have to go to bed tonight. But yeah, I can't think of anything else to talk about. I think we actually didn't have to rush, and we were able to cover all our topics. At some point here soon, though, we need to get you, me, Cody, and Tyler in here, because Tyler he needs to get a webcam. I'll probably sell him mine when I get the same one that you have, or maybe just give it to him so he can do this with us. Because honestly, he needs to join in. Because I think our viewers, and you guys let us know, I think they would really like having more people. And it'd be cool to have Tyler on here too, because he posts so much. He's been a really big part of the website. So, I mean, you and him especially have been really a big part in actually bringing the news out there, which is what brings the views there. And then Cody and I kind of work on the underside. I'm going to start posting a lot more news here once I get that Bitfinex build, the Bitfinex Ghost review done. Sorry, I've been working on it so much lately, everyone. I get confused. But yeah, once I get that done, then I can start posting like absolutely crazy. And we plan to bring you a lot more video content as well. So,
yeah, I'm going to start posting more when I'm actually home more often. I've been not home so much as of recent that I haven't been at a computer enough to actually do any posts on stuff that I wanted to post on.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Tyler's been taking really good care of that. So I appreciate that, and I think our viewers appreciate the amount of news that we've been getting. So I think we could push it a lot further, and I think this summer, everybody, is going to be really, really big for us. We're going to try really hard to bring you guys the best that we possibly can. Just it's going to be awesome. It's really going to be cool. If you guys keep being interested in our stuff, you guys are going to be really happy. We'll treat you guys the best we can. So anyway, that's it for this WordCast. There's no more tech news that either of us can think about. If there's anything that we missed, it might be on the website. If it's not, go ahead and comment, and maybe we'll research it and we'll give our opinion on it next time, or post an article about it on the website for everyone to see if there's something that you guys think that we should talk about, because it may be really cool to get some content ideas from our viewers as well when it comes to news, something that we missed or maybe hadn't seen because we've been too busy or whatever, and then we'll write a professional post about it. And yeah, that'd be really cool. So anyway.
By the way, like 5 websites just posted reviews on the HTC One Mini 2.
Really?
Yeah, the NDA must have just gone up because there's like, yeah, I'm looking at polls right now. Review. So.
Wow. Well, that's cool. I want to see the HTC One Max M8 or Max.
No. Why do they keep making those?
If they do it right this time, it's going to be amazing. Because I like a large phone, and I like the HTC One.
5 is perfectly fine.
But not for me. What I want in a phone is a good camera, a giant screen, and then I also want a
The HTC One series wouldn't work for you though, because you can't get 20-foot thick phones that have gigantic batteries.
No, you can. You just it's called a battery case.
Those are even worse.
Yeah, but you know, it's there. No, I really like the HTC One's design, and I like having a large screen because I type a lot, and all I pretty much do on my phone is type. The larger the screen makes it easier for me to type because that's just the way I type. I like
Or
to.
you could be a cool kid and just slide your finger around the screen.
Yeah, I hate that. Honestly, it works great, but I hate it. I just hate it. I like actually typing.
Why?
Just because it's just.
What
I
about
don't have any reasoning behind hating it. It just some reason when I use it, it pisses me off and I don't like it.
because you're bad at it?
I'm not even bad at it, actually. I used to be really, really, really fast at it. It used to be all I used, but I started getting fucking annoyed and started not liking it. So I type regular now because that's how I like it. Anyway, so that everyone, that is the end of WordCast number 4 here. Go ahead and like it if you like it, dislike it if you disliked it, and comment and let us know what you think and what you want us to do and what kind of content you want us to bring. More PC stuff, more mobile stuff. What do you want us to do?
And give me a cookie.
And give him a cookie. Yeah, he deserves a cookie. So, or well, if you can, order Mountain Dew flavored Cheetos from Japan and send them to him. He would eat them all. He will eat them on camera for you if you were to send him those.
That is a great idea. I need more of those.
Yeah, you do. I need more of them too, even though I only had 2 because they were weird. Anyway, yeah. So everyone, this is Ethan Word and Daniel Logan.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, you can call him that too. And we're signing off now. Thank you very much for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed it. And be sure to check out the site, wordtechreviews.com. And subscribe if you want to get more videos like this and watch our live stuff and everything. If you follow our Google Plus page, you can get updates about when we're doing our live WordCast. So everyone, thank you for watching.